Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is your boy D Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is cryptocurrency. What is going on, guys? Good morning. Happy Saturday. I'm trying to get in a quick video here before we have to start really prepping last minute preps, I guess, for our trip out to Europe. We'll be gone for a couple of weeks. But I wanted to hop on here, just talk about a couple, three things that I thought were pretty interesting. You know, it's crazy right now what's going on in the XRP ecosystem. All things are actually crazy coming together. It is so exciting and almost scary at the same time. All the things that are happening. Every time I think about the XRPL, right, the XRP ledger, every time I think about the ILP, I just think it's just a once in a lifetime, once in 3 lifetimes opportunity that we have here, and it's becoming more and more obvious every single day. It's funny because Crypto Eddie did a video, I believe it was yesterday morning, about the Everest PDF, right, where it showed all the different networks layered together. You know, it's the same thing that Love for Crypto shared in 2018, I think it was, but the way she put it out, she was reminding people that more and more of the stuff that was mentioned then that we were speculating on is actually come into existence, is actually a reality. If you have not checked out that Everest PDF, you definitely want to check it up. I didn't pull it out here, but I just thought it was an important point to make that, in fact, all the things we thought about in 2017, especially in 2018, are coming to fruition in 2019. It is becoming, to me, very clear that XRP is, quite honestly, it is the standard. And when I think about Spring and what they're doing, and the fact that they made that bold move, and I'm going to go over that, it's just very telling. It says to me that the cross-border payments thing, that initial doorway, a gateway, if you will, for XRP, is just the beginning. It speaks to so many things going forward with Spring. That is the next thing, and the fact that they're taking on these developers and this open, this open door policy to come build on everything that is XRP and around that ecosystem is phenomenal. And I can just see the young minds and the young, brilliant minds gravitating to Spring. Because they want to see and want to be a part of history, right? And so that is just going to be exciting in so many ways. But from a distance, I can just really see the powers that be in these governments understanding how powerful that XRPL is and how the ILP will connect these different things and these different networks together. This whole interoperability it's just not an idea or concept anymore. It's actually coming together, and the major players know it. They know it. The XRPL is just one ledger, but it is, in fact, the best ledger for scalability, for transparency, for low costs, for speed, all of these different things. And the fact that Spring is doing this whole new thing called, I think, Rust, the interledger protocol Rust, I believe it is, so interledger.rrs. The fact that they're going there and making these APIs and making it even easier for people to connect, it is essentially game over for people, for anyone who might be trying to compete in the same space in terms of cross-border payments and even going forward. I'm going to show you a Vanguard article. They mentioned something that I thought was very significant. So I'll talk about this Samsung thing. It's obviously, look, Samsung partners with Ripplenet member enabler to power cross-border payments. And that's significant in a lot of ways. Number one, because it is Samsung, and we all know that Finable is a Ripplenet partner, and that is really cool. It's funny too because we were just trying to send some money overseas to Europe, and it found it very challenging, right? In terms of fees, in terms of just the fact that it wasn't as simple as shooting out an email is very challenging, and we all know that it should be that simple. But here's what the article reads. It says Ripple strive to enable cross-border payments that has already resulted in an involvement of over 200 banking platforms from across the world, joining the list of extensive partnerships with Samsung Pay after it announced a partnership with Enabler, a Ripplenet member and a firm with 40 years in cross-border payment expertise. As per their official announcement, this new in-app international money transfer service, a first of its kind in the US, offers users seamless and secure cross-border payments to 47 countries through a variety of payout methods, all within Samsung's native mobile wallet. And so, the big guys, the giants, are catching on. They're getting that this is what it's really all about. Enable already leverages the Ripple network to power it. Man, I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know if that's Unimoni or Unimoni. I'm not really sure. And the UAE exchange, which affirms Samsung's decision to enter the cross-border payments landscape. So, this is just another sign of adoption. Just another way for me that they're all going to connect. Ripple partners are going to connect with other institutions. Ripple partners are going to connect with other Ripple partners, and it's all going to be run and based around the XRPL and all things that are XRP is. So this is just more news to confirm what is in fact just going to happen. So that's really, really cool. There was an article on Business Wire about the same thing as well, and I'm not going to go over that. Let me see, what else did I want to talk about? We already know about the PNC partnership. I'm not sure why this article came out in Medium again, unless this fiat exchange was just kind of trying to highlight their thing. But we already know about PNC, the United States' 8th biggest bank with nearly $400 billion in assets, has converted into the nation's first bank and utilizing Ripplenet blockchain network for cross-border installments. So we already knew about this, but again, they put this article out just yesterday. It's just another example and a reminder of what is going on. I read something the other day about, and I'm going to show that. I'm going to share that later. That's my last thing that I want to share with you guys. But here's the thing that I want to share with you guys now. That I think is important. And at Xspring, in fact, that they went there. So this is xspring.io or spring.io, the open platform for money. And to me, to make that move, right, to drop all things, if you will, and say, this is where we're going. We're going in this platform, going in this direction for money, I think is significant. And if you go here to their blog, the Digital Asset Investor just put out a video, and I see that CKJ is just doing a video when I just talked about with PNC. So Spring Platform, Ripple's ecosystem initiative to build the internet of value using open source crypto product protocols. And they got a blog here. They're on Coil, right? Using Coil. Partner with BitPay. And Interledger Rust alpha release is what I mentioned earlier. The next chapter of Spring, the open platform for money. Ideas for future use of the ledger and Hello World, right? So it's just that move that they made with Spring and that investment in that is, to me, it just spells real use case. And you guys know, every time if I do any kind of post on Twitter, or 99% of the time I will always hashtag real use case when it comes to Ripple and XRP, because in the end I think that is the real thing. I didn't even pull up this blog on what it really says, but the fact that they're doing that, our vision and what they're looking to do with Spring, the open platform for money. Spring builds on open source, open protocols, and open networks, making it easy for the 23 million developers worldwide to enable payments in their products and services, right? So they're really telling you in the direction that they're going and what they're planning on doing. XRP gives developer tools, services, and programs to easily build with XRP and the Interledger protocol. XRP is one of the fastest, cheapest, and most liquid methods for settlement. IOP is a standardized payment protocol that bridges the gap between any fiat or digital asset. It is so important to understand and to get that. Together, they form a universal, ubiquitous way to move money. So it's together, right? And so, it's the XRPL, it's XRP, it's the IOP. It is, in my humble opinion, it truly is game over. At Ripple, our vision is to enable and undervalue a world where money moves as quickly and as easily as information does today. This is at the center of everything we do, from building a global payments network for financial institutions, Ripplenet, to establishing initiatives to support development and innovation in blockchain, like the University Blockchain Research Initiative. Yeah, right? And to X Spring. And this is by Ethan Beard. So it's just, for me, it's very, very exciting to know where they're going, and that with this initiative, this investment in this thing is really, it's the next thing to me, right? And I feel as though they got the whole thing done with the XRPL in terms of the cross-border payments. I think it's very interesting to see that David Schwartz is moving into doing more things with Spring. I saw something the other day about how they actually had Spring and PolySign on there, so they showed in that slide presentation that they have in fact invested in PolySign, and so more and more of that is going to start to come out as well. So it is really, really, really exciting to see where we're going. And, we're just years ahead of everyone else, and so that's really, really exciting. The whole price thing to me is it is just a matter of time. Uh, I said this before in a video just a couple of videos ago, and I'll say it again. Something is major is going to happen in November. One or two things major are going to happen in November. I saw an Investment Perspectives Telegram group about Ripple Riddler. I'm not a Ripple Riddler person, right? So that is not my thing. But I do think it's interesting that that video says November 5th or 5th of November, a day to remember. And we obviously, we all just heard about how the Fed is going to continue to inject fiat dollars into the repo market, and they've extended that date to November 4th. And I just think it's interesting that that video from Ripper Riddler mentions November 4th, and he said not anymore. It's she, because he asked the girl in that video, "What is today's date?" Or and she said no, the 4th of November, and he said not only longer. And then he goes on to talk about the 5th of November, the day to remember. And so just for me, I think it's interesting that those two dates coincide, or I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. I really don't. This Ripperilla guy, it's been talks about who he is, so an inside guy, who knows? But the videos and all these different things are very, very interesting to me. So, right, all we can do is kind of pay attention to see what's going to happen on the 5th of November after the ending date, the day after they injecting all of this money into the repo market. And so for the banks, right? So very, very interesting thing. And the long and short of the repo market is the banks at the closing of each day, if they come short and having to meet some credit obligation or whatever it might be, loan obligation, if they're short, they look to go to the repo market, look to other banks to see if they can loan them capital for, over the night, if you will, so that they can meet loan and debt obligations. And the market is turning into that the smaller banks are having to go to the bigger banks, but the bigger banks know the real situation of what's going on, and they're not lending that money as much as they were. That's why the Fed is having to inject all this money. And what that means for the average day consumer or business person is if you have some kind of agreement, whether it be a loan or a debt or credit limit or whatever, and the bank that you have it with is no longer able to meet that requirement, right? Then you can't get the money to continue to own and operate your business, right? And so we already know from watching Cryptopolis and Brad Kimes that right, 7,000 retail stores are closed already in 2019. Forbes predicted that 70,000. How do you go from 7 to 70,000 in just a year, right? And so 70,000 expected to close in 2020. So it speaks to what's going on in the repo market. That's why the Fed is doing what it is doing. And I think ultimately this collapse is certainly going to come. Whether it begins to start the 5th of November or not, we really don't know. But it is all lining up for things to happen in November. I just do not think that there is. Again, guys, why in the world would the IMF and the BIS be at the Swell conference for Ripple? Why? in the world would they be there? Now, also some things that happened in November. I think Ripple is going to be speaking at a Singapore fintech event as well. So I guess they're going to be in Singapore already. So I don't know if it's before the Swell conference or after the Swell conference. I think it's before. But in any case, Ripple has been invited to speak there. So something interesting, something huge, I think, is going to be announced at that Swell conference. I think personally, it's just as me personally. I don't see how um, the opportunity to get 4 for $1 is going to be done by December 31st of 2019. That's going to be over. Where it's going to go, I don't know, but I just really believe that it's over. Those days are over. I believe that for sure. And so it's going to be an interesting thing. And so here's the one. This is the second big article I want to share with you for Vanguard. So Vanguard is looking to get into a market and change the market, right? So it's really like the currency market, and it's a disruption. It's a market disruption, in my opinion. So Vanguard to challenge banks' grip on $6 trillion currency market, having revolutionized the business of buying stock. Vanguard Group is now coming for currencies. The investing pioneer, obsessed with lowering costs, is obsessed with lowering costs. It's testing a new way for asset managers to trade currencies and avoid big investment banks, according to a person familiar with the matter. The platform, based on the blockchain technology that powers Bitcoin, has been operational for 2 months and has handled some trades, said the person, asking not to be named because the project is private. Yeah, not so much. If successful, the venture could shift power in the $6 trillion a day currency market that banks such as J.P. Morgan Chase, Deutsche Bank, Deutsche Bank AG have ruled for decades. While skeptics say it will be challenging to get enough investment firms on board, the cost savings of peer-to-peer trading could prove appealing in a world where profits are being squeezed by a race to the bottom on fees and mounting regulatory burden. So I think this is the fact that Vanguard is looking to do this and become a market disruptor is significant. The fact that they wanted to do it in this digital asset space and they realize that they're going to use the DLT and to do it is significant, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. Vanguard, with more than $5 trillion in total asset, trades about $2.5 trillion of currencies a year. Okay, that's cool. That's a tremendous amount of interest and the potential for. There is a tremendous amount of interest in the potential for disintermediation, he said in an interview last month with the trade, describing a system that would be decoupled from banks and price discovery would move to outside platforms able to match peers. Vanguard is currently piloting a project focused on improving efficiency and reducing risk of foreign exchange FX hedging. Company spokesman Carolyn Wegman said, declining to elaborate as part of the firm's commitment to lower the cost of investing for all investors. And so here's the interesting thing that I wanted to point out to you here. It says swaps and forwards. Swaps and forwards. And I just want you guys to think about where we just recently heard that. A blockchain-based peer-to-peer platform would have greatest impact on swaps and forward markets rather than in spot trading, because on a day-to-day basis, opposite interests among investment firms may be limited in spot, said Adams. Banks are almost dominant in these derivative trades because investors may rely on them for credit line, said Jay Moore, the founder of XH Hedge Pool, a currency platform that matches buy-side customers. Now, where have we heard these forwards before? And that would be the first time that I'd heard of it and became familiar with it is when I heard about the Logos network in spring and the Logos network, right? And they talked about forwards in there. Let me see if I can find that. Right, and so Ripple Spring acquired, right? That was an acqui-hire for Logos, right? Let's see, Logos. That comes up. But that was the first time that I had ever heard of Coin News. This could be right now. Ripple acquires Lowe's and plans to develop. Either one of these would work. XRP right now, it really has a really good site. If you guys have not checked that out, you should definitely check it out. This website is nicely done. It always comes with the latest and greatest information and news about all things XRP and Ripple. And so I think that's really, really cool. Forgive my slow computer. But I remember when they talked about the DeFi products and they talked about the Logos network, because I remember thinking, what in the world? Our forwards, here it is right here. So now let us jump into why this is such massive news. With this acquisition, Logos acquihires will now help Ripple build XRP derivatives, XRP loans, XRP futures, and XRP forwards. He said, let me say that again. Logos will now help Ripple build XRP derivatives, XRP loans, XRP futures, and XRP forwards. Can anyone say liquidity? How about price discovery? And I commented at this. He didn't get a chance to read it on one of his videos on Brad Times videos, and in fact, his investment perspective videos on his channel. But I had said that, I think the biggest pivotal point, obviously, is going to be Q4. But I think with MoneyGram, I made a comment on the chat, and I said that MoneyGram's use of XRapid and XRP is institutional money's proof of concept. And what I mean by that is the institutional money, these hedge funds, these big Wall Street people, they understand MoneyGram and what MoneyGram is doing with it, with the XRapid. They understand that there is going to be, what's the word? There's going to be a report. There's going to be an earnings report. There's going to be this report that comes out that says what they're doing. They get that business model that is MoneyGram, right? They don't understand coil. Right? Right? You understand what I'm saying? They don't get Spring, but they get MoneyGram, and they understand and they know, right? Because they can talk amongst themselves what they're doing with XRapid. What, of course, MoneyGram's not going to say everything, but the fact that they can report additional revenue streams, the fact that they can report the savings and all these different things, to me, that's the institutional money's proof of concept, right? They're looking at that and saying, okay, what's going on with that? How is that working? They get MoneyGram's model. And the fact that MoneyGram has incorporated and taken in and decided to use this technology, XRapid, that is, which is just now, right? The whole thing is just called on-demand liquidity, right? Institutional money gets that. So they're sitting back and they're waiting and watching, if you will, what this traditional company in this particular space of cross-border payments, what they're doing, and the fact that they're using this DLT technology, that is all things XRP, that is this on-demand liquidity thing, they get that. So to me, that is the institutional money's proof of concept, what MoneyGram is doing. And they're going to wait for that Q4 report. Obviously, if we listen to the Q2 report, right, they know, they listen to it as well. And so that's, to me, that's their proof of concept, if you will, for institutional money. I believe that 1,000%. They're looking at that because they understand that. They don't understand coil. They don't understand Spring, right? They probably don't understand the XRP tip bot, right? But they understand MoneyGram, this traditional company, and what it's doing. And so, and then they can talk amongst themselves, right, in the language that they both understand, right? They might not understand Ethan Beard, right, or David Schwartz, right? But they can understand the people from MoneyGram, and they can talk amongst themselves. So that's what I think is definitely happening there, and I think that's going to be pivotal on what's going to happen. But to me, institutional money, in my opinion, will learn more about the fundamentals of XRP through MoneyGram, and because of that, once they learn more, I think that's where the price discovery begins and ends, right, with institutional money and the people from NASDAQ and the people from BAC. Once they get a better understanding of the fundamentals of XRP, that's when the real price discovery will happen. I just think it's very, very interesting Very, very interesting that CBGA, the central bank's government agreement, ended, and they announced that it ended, and they, in so many words, told us what that means, which I believe it means that they're going to be able to do whatever they want to do with that price of gold. They're going to shoot that thing up to the moon. And again, you heard me say in videos in the past that why you got to pay attention to what these central banks are doing. Why have they for the past couple of years just been acquiring and acquiring and acquiring and acquiring more and more gold? It was, in fact, for a reason. And I know I have the same thoughts that, and I heard the Bearable Bull say the same thing as well. You know, if they can run the value of it up like that, of gold up like that, and if they somehow peg or back or whatever they're going to do XRP to gold, who knows if they are, I mean, that would be significant because everyone believes in the traditional finance market of a 10,000 per ounce gold. All of them believe it. All of them can see it. All of them have no questioning in it getting there. So it's an interesting thing. We all know when the financial markets do what it's going to do, when this recession really begins to hit home, the people are going to be going into digital assets and they're going to be going into gold and silver without question. But I believe for me, the real price discovery is going to come from the institutional market. That's why BACT is here. That's why the NASDAQ does have an XRP PL or something like that. So it's a liquidity index. There's a reason why they're tracking the liquidity of XRP. It's all coming together for a reason, for a reason. And in the end, like I said before, the global economic crisis has zero patience and waits on no one. And XRP, the greatest digital asset ever created, is the liquidity solution without question. So whatever they try to do, whether that be freeing up these notes or virtual accounts, whatever it is that they are planning on doing, XRP, the XRPL, and the ILP are in the middle of it all. And so for us as XRP holders, that is outstanding news. But let me go to something, and I just want you guys to really think about this and tell me what you think in the comments about this. This is very, very interesting. This is from Stephen Bull from the DIAP. And I just thought it was a very, very, very profound statement. In this world of YouTube and Twitter and these content creators in this world of this is not financial advice, do your own diligence. Look, I'm not a financial planner. You got to do your own homework. All of these different things. Listen, this is what Stephen Bull from the DIAP says. When you knew investing in XRP is the opportunity to change your life, and you are only investing what you can afford to lose, you are letting go of the opportunity you can't afford to lose. Let me read that again. When you knew investing in XRP is the opportunity to change your life, and I would say change the life of those around you. I would say change the lives of 3 lifetimes, right? I would say change, your life to generational wealth. When you knew investing in XRP is the opportunity to change your life, and you are only investing what you can afford to lose. You are letting go the opportunity you can't afford to lose. Almost every banking conference video I watch once mentioned Ripple. Can you argue that? You can't deny it. And this is a guy who's not big on hype. He is definitely not big on hype and FUD. Right? You know that in the XRP community. You know that Stephen Bull from the DIAP. It's not on that hype. He's not on the FUD, right? Interesting comment, right? In the world of this famous quote, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not giving you financial advice. Everybody on the YouTube wants to make this disclaimer because they want to get blamed for someone going out and taking a second loan on a home. I just thought that was an interesting comment and bold, very, very bold, very, very, very bold to say it. And so, sometimes there is this thing where it's an all in. You have to burn the bridges, if you will, sometimes, right? And so I remember, and I think what scared a lot of people is they did that back in the day of the lending platform space and these high yield investment platforms that came up that were all over 2016 and 2017, and people got burned by BitConnect, and people did in fact go all in. People did take second loans and get loans, second, all this stuff, and put it into that platform and lost big time. And so, so that's painful. That's painful. But we all know that XRP is a different thing. And the powers that be know it as well. Why is Binance looking to what? They're pegging, they're pegging their XRP, the equivalent of an XRP to the Binance coin. Now, why are they doing that? Why is BitTrue coming out with all these XRP base pairs? Why is CoinField getting ready to come out with over 100 base pairs of XRP? Right? You got to ask yourself why that is. You just really do have to ask yourself why that is. And I'm surprised. And again, I'm surprised that the people from EOS and the people from Cardano, and I'm talking about those communities, are not asking themselves the same thing. Well, why aren't there, exchanges coming out with EOS base pairs? And why aren't there exchanges coming out with Cardano base pairs? And I'm not saying those are not awesome projects, because I believe, in fact, both of them are. But you got to ask yourself, why aren't the exchanges? Why are they going to XRP as the base pair? There's a reason for that, right? And we are in the space to change. We are in this space to change the lives of our families, to create generational wealth, not to become what's the word? Fans of a team. You know what I'm saying? Fans of a team. I'm in this space to create generational wealth. Generational wealth. And it has become very, very clear to me that XRP is the chosen one. Because they had a chance to pick Cardano. Cardano is being used by regular, everyday folks in Asia and Japan especially. Right? They had a choice. They had a chance to choose Cardano. These exchanges had a chance to do that. And they didn't do it. And again, it's not saying anything about that project. But you got to ask yourself, why didn't they choose Cardano or EOS? Why is it becoming every day more and more clear that Ethereum will not scale the way that it's necessary to become something significant, in years going forward? There's a reason for it. There's a reason why XRP was chosen. The XRPL, ILP, this spring thing, the writing is on the wall, right? And I tell people this all the time. The people from Ripple, whether it be Brad Garlinghouse or David Schwartz or Ethan Beard or, Monica Long, Michelle Bond, Ashish Burla, whoever they're always telling us what's going on. We just gotta listen. And then dare to believe. Dare to believe in the possibility of what can happen for you. And so, guys, listen, I'm going to hop off here, but I just would love to hear your thoughts on this statement from Stephen Bull from the DIOP. I just think, wow. I applaud you for your courage to make that statement, my friend. I really do. I applaud you for your courage to make that statement. When you knew investing in XRP is the opportunity to change your life. And you are only investing what you can afford to lose. You are letting go the opportunity you cannot afford to lose. Almost every banking conference video I watched once mentioned Ripple. It's just powerful. And as adults, we have to make our own decisions, right? I think that's the statement that needs to be said more than this financial planning thing. As adults, we have to make our own decisions, be responsible and accountable to ourselves for our own actions and our own decisions. All right, and I just read this statement from Stephen, and I think, wow, how powerful is that? For me, I don't want I don't want to move on 3 years, 5 years from now and feel as though I didn't do everything I could. I didn't do everything I could to change, the legacy of my family and create generational wealth. And trust me when I say, we have done things literally sold the clothes off our back to free up cash to invest in this space. We've done that. And we right, we've done that. We know in the small percentage that we fit into in today's world of income and finances, we know that small, minute percent. We know we fit in there, but yet and still we're willing to do that because it's the greatest opportunity of 3 lifetimes. It is the best chance for the average Joe and average Jane in this digital asset space, in my humble opinion. So again, you got to make your own decisions as an adult, but I see this as an opportunity of a lifetime. So you guys all know this, and I'll end this video with this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to participate in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sideline? The digital asset space, guys, is our chance to win. We are, in fact, in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know. That the battle for you has already been fought. And the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.